So I'm the early careers partner for Wesleyan. So I've been with Wesleyan for over 10 years now, and kind of the last 2 years, we decided there needed to be more focus on early careers side of things. So I've been kind of looking at apprenticeship schemes, graduates, and just really kind of reviewing the whole side of things. One of the big things about Wesleyan is we're really keen on corporate responsibility. And we'll do everything we can to try and make sure that we are involving all our local schools. So one of the big things was looking at work experience. And I know for a lot of in-house recruiters, when you say work experience, it's just like the dread of, I really can't bear looking at work experience because it is a lot of hard work, and it's not, you don't feel like you get much reward from it. So for me, it was kind of like looking at what can we do to make it more effective. So I will be just running through what our previous process looked like, our new scheme, findings from our 2 cohorts that we've done so far with the new process, looking at the feedback that we've received from them, and what kind of our future plans are. And then, of course, I'll open up the floor to any questions. But that's one of our cohorts that we had back in April. So, our work experience scheme, very, very ad hoc. So we were just getting requests come through on a regular basis via email. A high proportion of those were family and friends too. So can my daughter come and spend some time with you? Can my nephew? Can a client's friend? It was all round kind of reactive work experience requests. We didn't have any diversity, so we weren't looking at how we could spread the diverse students. We were just taking anybody and anything, but majority of the time, because it was family and friends, it was very set backgrounds. And the students, when they did come in, they tended to shadow. So they were just sitting around watching other people do their job, which, as you can imagine, can be quite boring. And so they weren't getting much from that. We were taking around 30 students a year. And they were all through the year, so any time really, there wasn't set dates either. And we didn't get any real feedback from the students, so we didn't actually follow up with them, and what we didn't do is actually try and re-engage in the future, so we weren't talent pooling. And a lot of the students were year 10s, and of course at year 10, they really don't know what they want. They're coming in to do work experience because they're being told they've got to do work experience, but they're not really that bothered about it, and they're just coming in for that week to get it out the way. So those are some of the obstacles that we were coming across. So one of the things we looked at is how we went about our work experience, and we'd recently signed up to something called the 30% Club. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of them before, but they actually work to ensure more diverse workforce, and also trying to make the gender side of things a bit more neutral, so that we're actually going out, and in places where we may say not have many women in there, it's educating young people into, say, technology and IT. So we were doing that, and they do 3 sections. One is mentoring. One is speakers for schools. So we have our execs go out and talk to schools to inspire them. And the final part was work experience. And what we did is we introduced the S4S Next Generation website. And that was my portal. Even though we had our own ATS system, this was a set portal for work experience. And what that does is it goes out to various schools around Birmingham, and they basically will advertise your vacancy. So you can say, I'll take 4 work experience students covering these areas, and they will advertise it and go out to those schools. So they'll do all the legwork for you. The good thing is that you can actually select pre-screen questions. So you can actually start to think about what do you want to know from those students, and actually, are they really wanting to come and spend work experience with you? Also, it shows you the diverse background, so ethnic background, gender, whether it's free school meals, all that kind of stuff. So really, again, I was able to gauge, how much I was diversing and how much I was opening up to completely different areas that I would never have considered before. The other thing I opened this work experience scheme to was A-level students. So rather than focusing on year 10s or 11s, and a lot of the time year 11s can't come out to work experience because of their GCSE focus, but with the A-level students, they wanted the work experience, they were desperate for it. So when they were coming in, they were really keen and focused, and they knew a lot more about what they wanted. So I decided I'm going to focus on that and see how that goes. So this was my first plan, my initial plan, and I worked with some of my apprentices to help them build this. So I was getting feedback from them. What is it that they wanted? What did they enjoy? And we focused on, a Monday was induction. So they were being inducted into the company to find out more about Wesleyan, the way an office works, meeting our apprentices, and we gave them work experience ambassadors, and we also did market stalls. So we had different areas of the business, and they were basically telling them a little bit about them. So I prepared them, I gave them help with questions, and they would go up to those different market stalls and say, well, what do you do? How did you get into that job? What kind of skills do you need? It was all those kind of questions for them to really understand that there's more than one job in financial services, and actually it was broadening their knowledge of that. We then, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, we did skills workshops. So we looked at CV, so we got them to either bring their CV to review and to amend, or we created a brand new CV. We also did personal brand, so I got 2 of my apprentices and a graduate to lead that workshop, talking about how do they actually present themselves, how do they want to be seen and perceived in the future. We also did a presentations workshop, so how again they present themselves, and then we did interview skills where we were getting them to practice interviewing, coming up with some example questions as well. So it was a really good way for them to take away something from that workshop. They weren't just coming in to get to know the company, but actually getting something they could physically take away with them to use. In the afternoons, they spent time in a department, so they got to spend time in 3 different departments, which was really useful, again, to really broaden their knowledge. And then on the final day, we had a bit of a mix of some more presentations, but we also got them to present back to us. So we were getting to find out what did they learn, what kind of skills have they taken away from the week, and really just getting feedback from them. So it was really good to actually see it all come to life. So that was the first cohort. They were a fantastic bunch. We had 7 students, and they really did get involved. They asked lots of questions. They wanted to learn more on a regular basis. And we had one student that wasn't as well behaved, but we dealt with that. But the rest of them were just brilliant. Really enjoyed working with them, and they really came away with a positive attitude. And you could see some massive differences from how they were when they interacted as that group, because they formed a bond because they were spending so much time together. So these were just a few pictures of some of the workshops and the events that they went to. So we did have some amazing feedback from those individuals. Really, really enjoyed it. They felt like they got to understand financial services a bit more, and it actually opened up their eyes to all the different types of jobs out there. Also opened up their eyes to apprenticeships, and they just felt like they'd really developed some skills from that week. So it was fantastic to get that feedback from them. I did find, though, there were some things that I found, and also feedback from the students, that we could improve on. So the first week I found that there were some gaps. So I was kind of thinking, what can I do to kind of fill those gaps, and having to think on my feet, which is fine, but I was thinking there's loads more we can do here. Not all the departments were interactive. So again, they were doing the standard, I'll just sit there and tell them what I do, or sit there and get them to shadow, where the actual students really loved the interaction. They loved being given a task, even if it was just putting some post in an envelope. They just loved having that responsibility, basically. I found that I hadn't really done much on graduate side of things because my area is more focused on apprenticeships because it's been so successful for us. I probably hadn't focused enough on that side, and I did really want to give them the whole picture. So graduate talking was something that I needed to add in. And the final part was just needing that flexibility that I could actually add other things into the week when I needed to. So a couple of them said, I want to know more about finance. So I quickly called up a couple of people in finance and got them to come and just do a little talk with them. So it was really good that I could flex it based on their needs. So from that, I amended the plan. And this is what we came up with for the April cohort. So on the Monday, we added in a graduate Q&A so that they could actually ask lots of questions. And I wanted that to be a bit more relaxed because the apprentice presentation was a bit more focused, where this was, any questions you want to ask. They talked about their experience. And it was really good because I had different graduates come from different backgrounds. So again, it was giving them the options of how they could go into the graduate side of things. We did the corporate responsibility too because I was really keen for them to understand what kind of companies are out there and how important that kind of thing is, about the values. And that really was great because it embedded into what they wanted when they were leaving school. We continued with the Tuesday as it was. And the Wednesday we merged, so we brought in the interview techniques and the presentation workshop together. And that worked really well, actually. It fed nicely, and we were really bringing in the personal brand into those sessions. So getting them to come up with what is their personal brand, what do they want it to be, and then making sure they were bringing that through into how they interviewed and how they presented themselves. And then we introduced the mock assessment centre. So our view was we're teaching them all these skills, but we're not actually getting them to put it into action. So it would be really good for them to do that before they leave. So that Thursday was a full-on session. They came in, clothed like they would go to an interview. We had people from around the business come and help me to interview them. I didn't interview them because I was like their mum all week, so I was kind of like taking a step back and letting some professionals do the work for me. And we actually gave them some feedback. So it was really good to give them some clear feedback. And actually they were so surprised with how well they'd done. They weren't expecting to do so well. So it was really nice to see that they went away really positive. And then Friday, we introduced guest speakers. So I invited Aston University to come in to talk about going down the university route. They talked about, doing their personal statements, what it's like on campus, all those kind of things. And BPP, which is our training provider for apprenticeships, we also introduced them to that day. And it was, again, really great for them to see their options. And they've got a couple of options now that they can think about. So that, again, worked really well, actually more successful than the first one. I loved the mock assessment centre, and so did the students. And you can see on here, they really got involved again, asking lots of questions, wanting to know more. It was just really great to see them bonding as a group. And they were actually really helping each other out. So we had a few that were a little bit quieter, and they were bringing them into the group and getting them out of their comfort zone. We had, again, amazing feedback. Charlotte and Fahana were the quieter ones, and actually their personalities just changed so much, and it was just great to see that actually they had so much to offer, and actually, we would have had them. Well, I would have had every single one of them on my apprenticeship scheme, without a doubt. They were absolutely fantastic. But I think one of the biggest learning points from them was that they found that they now knew that there was different routes. It wasn't just the one route, which was university, which was one of the key things I was really wanted to get across. Also, through the week, and this is something that I would really highly recommend, is getting people in the company involved in this week. So I advertised on our Facebook for work, called Workplace, asking for volunteers. And these individuals all helped me out. And they were all from very different areas of the business. And they absolutely loved it. They really enjoyed just getting involved and doing something completely different from their day-to-day job. We had a couple of apprentices there, and then individuals that I would never have guessed to volunteer, but they loved it. So it was really nice to actually it not be all me having to do it, but actually getting other people to help me. So the main findings from that April cohort, it actually went the other way round and it became a little bit too busy. So I was actually finding it hard to actually fit in them doing their logbooks, which I was really keen for them to do because it was a great way of them recording all the stuff that they've done and evidencing it for school. So that was a big thing for me. The students were really keen to select their own departments. They felt that they wanted to make that decision. So it's difficult because you've got these departments and not all of them are going to be popular departments or that they don't really know much about. So giving them that option might not work, but I'm prepared to give it a go for them and see and give them those options on the first day. And I think it was also trying to get some more departments involved. The departments don't need to spend loads of time with them. They can either come on the market stall and do half an hour talking about their area or get involved in the actual, the work experience side of things. But it's 2 hours a day for 3 days. So it's not a whole week, which is what it was before. 5 days a week, 9 to 5, it's a lot more of a reduced time. So it's not so much time needed to spend with them. So those were the key findings, but rather than me talk about it, I thought it'd be really good to actually hear from some of the guys that actually did it. So hopefully this will work.
I'm Charlotte and I go to King Gates in Stourbridge.
Hi, my name is Mika and I go to John Wilmot Secondary School.
Hi, my name is Mohammed and I'm a sixth form student at Wesleyan Academy.
I'm Emily, I go to King Gates in Stourbridge.
Hello, I'm Ross and I'm studying at St Peter's in Wolverhampton.
My name is Farhana and I'm from Holyhead School.
This week has been action-packed. There's so much things that we did.
Personally, when I started, I thought a financial firm was literally just like the money side of it. I didn't realise there were so many different sections and parts.
I enjoyed the enthusiasm and the passion of the staff. They are really, really nice people that they want you to be the best.
I've been in HR, field support and IT.
I felt like I learned a lot of skills and collaborated with so many people, which is really good.
Getting hands-on experience in like the banking area of Wesleyan, so actually getting to almost play a role in what was going on that day.
I like the workshops and learning the skills and interviews. I think they were really helpful.
I really enjoyed doing a mock interview because I've never done an interview before and I feel like that will benefit me a lot later in life.
I feel like we've just been given CV skills, how to present ourselves during interviews because we've had practice interviews as if we were going for a job here.
As I entered Wesleyan, I felt like I approached new people, I knew how to communicate with them and team working as well.
Definitely confidence. I'm going to take that away, and independence, being away from college and my normal environment. Just like speaking to adults and just being with older people because obviously I'm not used to that.
I feel like my CV writing skills improved a lot because like the structure of how to write a CV, I'd never really done a proper CV before, so kind of now I've got a set CV which I won't hand into people.
Being able to come somewhere so professional and experience the kind of environment that we'll aspire to work in has been a really good skill to take away.
It was easy to just be yourself and talk.
I think there's quite a few things that have been really enjoyable. So coming together with people that you'd never have met outside of work experience at Wesleyan, and people from different backgrounds, different areas, all being able to experience the same kind of thing.
I'm gonna take the skills like communication, importantly communication, but also values that will help me with my life.
I feel like it's really drilled into like most of us, our colleges and even family, things like that. They really drill it into you that university is the only option when really it isn't the case.
I'm considering university or apprenticeship. I'm still in that zone where I feel like I can explore more.
With the help of Louise and everyone else in the company, we've seen different options. We've seen there's apprenticeship routes, we can still get qualifications.
I'd rather do a degree apprenticeship, so I've still got more qualifications than just going straight into an apprenticeship like that.
I think at the moment I'm more towards the apprenticeship route, but I've still got a few months to decide, so but I'll see about it.
And I feel like it's an eye-opener for if we don't have to go to uni, we could always get an apprenticeship here.
But even though I'm going to uni, not an apprenticeship, I would like to go to a graduate scheme, and why not maybe apply to Wesleyan.
It's just eye-opening and interesting.
That's definitely been good for all of us.
So it was just great to see that they'd taken on board everything that we did with them. And even though the schools are getting a lot better with talking about apprenticeships and helping students prepare for the world of work, it's still not great. A lot of the students there were saying that they've got a part-time careers advisor, and so they don't get to spend much time with them. So they hadn't had time to put a CV together, or they didn't have time to practice for interviews. So, you know, it just showed that they actually really needed this, and this was the right time. They're year 12, so they've got a year left until they finish their A-levels. So they've now got all of the skills they need to prepare for when they finish next year. So, in summary, and my advice to anybody that is thinking about doing something like this is open the week up to more diverse students. It's great to be able to say that we're not focused on one area. Introduce skills workshops, they are fantastic. I'm so pleased we've done that, and it really does break up the week for them. Listen to the students. I constantly was asking them, what do you want from this week? You know, are you getting anything? Is there anything else I can add for you? So I was constantly asking them that and amending the day or amending the week to ensure that they got all of that from it. And just keep reviewing the process. I've reviewed it twice already. I'm reviewing it a third time for the July cohort. So I'm always thinking about what can we do better and how we can improve it. So for me, that is the key thing, because I want to make it as good as possible for the students. So that's it.